Hey everybody, and welcome back to the March Mood Mindfulness Challenge. It's day 21 and we are talking about contribution and giving. So this month we've been talking about mindfulness and how being mindful of our moods and our emotions is really important to help us get a handle on what's happening around the world and how the world impacts us. Specifically this week, we're talking about the 6 core needs, and the last of the core needs is contribution. We spoke earlier about how there is a need for us to survive, there's a need for us to find challenge and adventure, to keep life interesting. There is a need for us to find love and connection and meaning and significance in everything we do. And those are the needs of the self. Those are the needs of the human body. Now, from this stage on, there is another level, and we talk about the spirit and the soul, or the spirit or the soul, however you want to think of it. And this is another aspect of us that some people reach, and actually some people are so busy just trying to make ends meet that they are trying to survive and find love and connection and find themselves in the world. So it's not like we have to reach all of them. You are where you are, and meeting your needs for where you are is really important. It's not a matter of looking at what other people are doing and copying them. It's a matter of looking inside and finding what it is that you're actually needing to make your world okay. Now, when we talk about growth and contribution, we talk about these as aspects of the soul, and it will depend here on your map of reality, your vision of the world, your perspective of life. So for me, I'm talking to like-minded people, and for me, life is all about, we are all spirits and souls that come from a creator, that we come to this earth to live a journey in this physical body. And when the physical body has come to its lifetime, and it has a finite lifetime, the physical body returns to the earth, and we as spirits return back to where we came from, which is another dimension, another realm, another reality, so to speak. So the spirit that's within us is also mixed with the physical body that we inhabit, and sort of the mind that we have, the heart that we have, the physical aspects that are associated with the physical body in this physical realm. So there's almost like inside us a self, and inside us there's a spirit, and there's the harmony that we try to achieve in our lifetime, is how a part of us that comes from another realm has to make peace with a part of us that lives on earth, and how to balance the two together to live in harmony. You'll notice in people's language, people say, part of me wants to do this and a part of me doesn't. And this is what I speak about when I help my clients integrate and find wholeness, so there's peace within and no conflict. So when we reach needs of growth and needs of contribution, you'll find that these are needs that your soul is searching for. This goes all the way back to Carl Jung and Jungian psychology. He talks about the spirit and what the spirit needs to survive while it's here on earth. As we grow, so too does the physical body, but so too does the spirit within us, because it's here for a short amount of time to experience life and to have a journey, and go back to its place with a certain amount of deeds, with a certain amount of journey, with a certain amount of experience. And so this is its yearning, this is its need. So contribution comes from a state where we are giving of ourself and not specifically getting anything back other than meeting the need for contribution. So if you think of yourself wanting to go to work and getting paid, that is actually the need for certainty. So when I exchange my services for a monetary value. That's me being able to have the money so I can come home and pay the bills and paying the bills and keep a roof over my head and over my family's head. That's meeting the need for certainty. Contribution specifically talks about giving of ourselves to meet a need for giving of ourselves. And I want to share with you my story of contribution, just to explain to you how that need arises within us. Now, I left a career in medical science and research because I had reached a capacity and a time in my life when everything I was doing just didn't seem to fit well. It had affected my health. It then poured out into my relationship with my partner, with my children, and it was affecting every single aspect of my life. So much begrudgingly, I pulled out from something that I had invested a whole lot of time in and needed to regroup. I left a career in medical science and research and moved into a career in aged care. Now that decision for me came after a very dark time in my life, and I noticed that there was a need inside me to overcome a fear of death. We had just lost my grandmother, who was my love, my heart and soul, and I had this overwhelming, looming probability that I was also going to lose, my parents and everybody else that was close to me. And I identified that there was quite a lot of fear there for me, and I wanted to really tackle that fear head on. And I thought the only way of tackling it is to be in it. So I chose to go into aged care. And not only did I go into aged care, but I was thrown into the deep end and went straight into dementia care without an option for it. And very quickly I realized that I either had to sink or swim. Now, this could be a job, or this could be a level of contribution. And for me, I quickly found out that this was just not a job. Definitely the amount of work that you put in is not equal to the amount of money that you get out, and the amount of work that you need to put in to get the level of satisfaction on the other side is so much more than what is just required. So I quickly found out that for me, there was a need for contribution. Now, contribution comes when there is a level of so much pain and that you realize that there is a scarcity mindset. Now, scarcity mindset happens when you focus so much on what you don't have that you get obsessed with it and you start losing sight of everything else. So if you don't have money, all you think about is money, money, money. When you don't have much time, all you can think of is there's not enough time, there's not enough time, not enough time. So if you notice in your language this not enough, not enough, realize that there is a scarcity mindset happening there. And the only way to get out of that scarcity mindset is to focus on what you have and actually focus on what you want rather than what you don't have and what you don't want. So for me, all I could see at that time was a lot of people in pain. All I could see was the amount of time people kept talking about how they didn't have enough time left, and why was it not the end of their life already, and what was this other day going, how different is this other day going to be, and how's it going to be different than yesterday. And I had a lot of my residents speaking in this scarcity mindset, and I quickly learned that I could either go down this way of fear or choose the opposite, which is to have an abundant way of thinking. So I made a decision that every time I would go to work, I would give of myself to my residents above and beyond what my work required me to do. And so I made this shift. I made this shift from just showing up to work absolutely scared by people who were always worried about death and worried that their time was coming up and worried that tomorrow was just going to be another day of pain or another boring day. I made that shift of giving to them whatever it is that they were seeking. I quickly got to know each of my residents. I quickly began to see how some really loved gardening, some really loved talking about their days of swimming, some really loved talking about their families, some really loved looking forward to food, some really loved joking, some people loved to reminisce about when they were at work. I quickly started understanding this, what brought that state up, what meant the world to them. And I would just go into each resident's room and we would just talk. And for the elderly, giving them your time and giving them your attention is like giving them gold. They understand that they can't go out and do the things that they used to do. And actually, when there's pain in their body, they are limited and they start to close down. However, a most magical thing happens when you give your energy and your attention to them. Pain actually leaves their body. Their mind is not focusing on the pain and the lack that they have. Their mind is focusing on inside their heart, inside what they love, and sharing what they love with you. So I found that when I gave them my time and energy, they gave me part of their heart. And it was just this beautiful reciprocation of energy between two people sharing a time and space. And I found that every time I was there to provide service, there was just a lovely feeling of connection and belonging and significance and uniqueness. And as I looked at the core needs, every single one of them was ticked because I was able to provide presence and attention and focus on someone who was so hungry for it. And this is part of the tragedy of old people in aged care, is that they're so starved for significance and hope, and there's nothing to do, that boredom, that they are in need. And so it's very easy to spend a little bit of time with someone and give up that which you have so freely to someone who needs it. And what happens is that you get so much back. You get so much back in untangible things. You get so much back in heart. You get so much back in love. You get so much back in significance. You get so much back in real connection and real understanding of what humanity is all about. And this is part of the need of the soul. The soul is not interested in tangible things. The soul is interested in what it can experience and what it can feel and the experiences it just went through. We are all energy, and energy is emotion, and emotion is part of the fabric of us. It lives in us. Memories live all around us. Not only do they live in our heart and our mind, they actually exist in our aura, in our biofield, and they're stored all around us. And when things in life bump up against our memories, we're suddenly transported back to that memory. It's the most amazing experience, and you will know it if you've experienced it. You'll know exactly what I mean, and if you haven't, that's okay too. You've got great times ahead. It is that level, though. It is that level of going beyond yourself and thinking and not thinking what's in it for me. It's more thinking, what do I have to give? And the most amazing, magical thing is that when you give of something, when you don't have much of it, you get it back 10 times over. And that's like a law of the universe. it is magical, and it has happened so many times in my life where I will give something in charity donation and really feel like the last $20 in my purse are more important to be giving to this cause than to be spent on a coffee and a cake for $15. And at the end of the day, I get home and I check the mail, or I check my email, and I've got $40 back, and it always comes back magnifying from a certain thing that happened a while ago, and I'd forgotten all about it. A debt that I had let go. I thought I'd never get back or see back, or something will sell if you have something like on eBay that you're selling, or a program that you're selling. When you give, you're rich. When you give of yourself, you're giving a resource that is easily replenished, but what you get back is almost, either it's tangible or sometimes it's not tangible, and sometimes the untangible is so much greater than the tangible. So getting the love back of someone is so much more than $100, right? So we have this old person in our home, very, very, very rarely smiles. And I put a lot of effort into getting a smile out of her. But occasionally I'll get a smile, and that's the world to me. And I think, well, I'm glad. I'm glad I was able to spark something that reminded her of something to smile about. So giving of yourself is meeting that need that the soul has, but also it is for your greater good at the end of the day, because what you give will come back to you magnified. And that is kind of the law of manifestation. This is the law of attraction as well, is that you put out and you will bring in what you put out. And it is part of living in this beautiful, crazy life of ours that is so hard to predict, and it's part of the journey and the adventure of it all. So I have a few tips here on how to focus on busting the scarcity mindset and how to achieve an abundant mindset. And the first one is to focus on what you have. So a scarce mindset is one that sees limitations. Like, I've only got $5. What can I do? They're living in another world. They're living in another country, and I'm living in Australia. What can I do? Whereas an abundant mindset sees opportunities. Like, wow, with this $5, I can post this to someone and they can buy $5 worth of something that they need. $5 goes a long way, much better than zero. A scarcity mindset is like, what can I do? I'm just one person. An abundant mindset is like, I believe in the power of prayer. I'm going to pray for that person, and I'm going to ask a higher power to help that person so much more than I can. So always focusing on what you have and what you can do, versus falling for, I don't have anything to give, so I'm not going to bother to do anything at all. The second thing is surrounding yourself with like-minded people. This is so important. The quality of your life really does depend on the kind of people you hang around with, and this is something I tell my teenagers so much. You'll notice that if you start hanging around with people who swear all the time, you're going to start picking up swear language. If you hang around with people who are apathetic and not doing anything about things, or just it's work, home, work, home, work, home, you're going to start adopting their lifestyle too. Whereas if you hang out with people who are always swimming on the weekend, hiking on the weekend, biking on the weekend, joining some kind of activity and then coming to work to speak about it, you'll notice that other people are doing other things more than work. And you too will start to want to do something so that you come to work to speak about your experience outside of work. So affects, like hangs around with like. And so in this instant, I know a lot of people say, but what about opposites attract? That's a different rule that doesn't apply here. In this situation, like attracts like. So people who are positive will always stay together. People who are negative will stay together. For example, people who are moaning and whining and complaining, misery loves company, they will be together. If you're a really bubbly person and you never complain, you won't really have that that strong a connection to hang around with someone who complains a lot. You'll find that that actually repels you, and that is not the kind of person that you are attracted to. Third tip for how to create an abundant mindset is to create win-win situations. When you find yourself thinking, I had $5, I'm going to give that person $5, I now don't have $5, I'm the loser, they won, I lost. That's a scarcity mindset. An abundant mindset is somewhere where the both of you have won. So I see somebody on the street, I'm going to go and give them $5, and in my mind I'm going to say, I'm so grateful that I work and I have $5 left over that I can contribute to society, and I've just made that person's day. And that's enough of a win-win situation for me, is that I, in my mind, always want to be a giver. I'd rather be a giver than be a taker. I'd rather see myself as someone who works hard and has a little bit of money to spend and help out those who are in need. So to keep myself in that level of society is really important to me. So I don't only work for me, I almost work to help people who are less fortunate to me, and that's my blessing in myself. The fourth tip for how to have an abundant mindset is to once again be mindful and be grateful of it, right? So if you look at everything you have in your life, if you look at everything you need in your life, you are going to be so grateful for what you have. You'll be aware of how much comfort you have, how much safety you're in, how much security you're in. You're not going to be thinking of, oh wow, I don't have a helicopter, or oh wow, I don't have a 60-foot yacht. We really focus on what we have. We're not really going to be thinking about what we don't have. Whereas if we're always thinking about what we don't have, we're going to discount what we have or what we need and always be looking for the next thing, and even that next thing is not enough. So remember, go back to the original thing of what we talked about. Focus on what you need and what you already have. Don't focus so much on what you want, and be grateful for what you have and the ability that you have at the moment to meet your needs. And as you slowly give, you will notice that you have so much more than what you actually need. And the fifth tip on how to have an abundant mindset is to train your mind to see possibility everywhere and also opportunity everywhere. So you'll catch yourself times going, I can't do this. This is so hard. It's impossible to go for that job. It's impossible to have this relationship. That's catching yourself in the fear zone and catching yourself at your scarcity mindset. And if you find yourself in those times, once again, be kind to yourself. It's a matter of mindfulness. Recognize where you are. You're in your fear zone, and then recognize that after the fear zone is the learning zone. And in the learning zone, you say to yourself, I can. I am learning. I am getting there. Small steps create big steps. And once again, you insert your empowering beliefs and remove the limitations to move from a scarcity mindset to more of an abundant mindset. An abundant mindset is just one where you realize that there's enough for everyone. Okay, just because one person got a job doesn't mean there's one less job out there in the world. An abundant mindset is one that says, wow, he got his job, I'm getting my job really soon. Whoa, that person has bought his car, well, just a matter of time before I'll get mine. It's understanding that the world is full of resources and the right thing for you is out there. You just need to put a little bit more effort, a little bit more learning, a little bit more giving, a little bit more understanding for yourself to reach that goal that you have for yourself. And it all stems from contributing of yourself to the world. And you'll realize that what you give out will come back to you. And that's the law of nature at the end of the day. And it's bringing it back to what we talked about the first week, which is understanding that the universe has a creator that has created this world to sustain and nourish us. And that when that creator sees that you as a soul is trying hard, giving hard, it will give you back at least however much you're putting out there, and then some. And if you reflect back on all the times that things really happened for you, where all your ducks were aligned in a row and it was just magic and it flowed and ease and grace, you realize just how much you were giving. And then you get to a threshold and then everything just opened up and everything was given to you in double fold. And that's the magic moment. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would love to hear what you guys have as your prompt. How have you contributed to the world, and how has the world contributed back to you? Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video.